We got one more story, y'all. Oh, y'all ain't gonna get it though after that. Really? That's all we get? We like to call this man the golden retriever on espresso of sex education. He teaches all over the country. I taught with him at Yale one time. That was cool. He travels all over teaching people about how to have better relationships, better sex. His workshops have been taught in, it says 40,000, but that fucking bio is like 4 years old, so it's gotta be like 50,000 by now. And he's an amazing body storyteller because any fucking theme I throw at him, he's like, oh wait, you know, did it with an elf? Well, dressed as Santa Claus? I've done that. He's the one who's been filling out everybody's card, dirty spin the dreidel, like every single one. He's like, I can write my name in there, I can write my name in there, I can write my name in there. Our final storyteller night, the amazing, we love this man so much, Reid Mihalko.
For many of us, it is the high holidays. Because what opens on the 18th, my friends? Yes. Welcome to the dark side. Now also, let's all say goodbye to Mickey Darth.
Goodbye, Darth Mickey.
I too can free the nipple. Sex Geek stickers make great. There you go. All right. So it was many years ago. When I diddle-loo, diddle-loo, diddle-loo. Do that to yourselves now. Diddle-loo, diddle-loo, diddle-loo. All right. So this is my lumbar sexual. Not lumbar sexual. Okay, so focus! Just like The Rock tells us at the gym, focus! All right. So, when all of the sex geekery started happening to me, it was a lot. It was like being a mutant and an X-Men kind of coming into your powers. It was a lot, all at once. I didn't quite understand it. I was throwing play parties for my friends. I needed to create a space for myself to kind of explore my sexuality, to ask for what I wanted, to explore what would eventually turn into this, and which you all are like, well, that makes sense. But imagine years ago where everyone was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, no one got it. I didn't get it. But then it was like, play parties, and come on over, but I had friends who were like, we're kind of conservative. And I felt like I was losing them. So I had to throw a New Year's Eve, this is not an orgy party. And I was like, well, how do we not make this an orgy? I will fill my living room with balloons. Red, white, clear. And this was in a 350 square foot New York apartment on the 5th floor walk-up. And now we're just in the living room, so it's even less. And that's where my bed is, in the living room, because it's a New York apartment. And the bathroom's tiny. Everyone say tiny. Tiny apartment. where when you sat on the toilet and leaned forward because you were drunk, your head hit the wall. And over the years, the paint wore thin. And it was calming, kind of like a Zen kind of meditation. Stare at the wall, at the dot on the wall. So I put plastic, and I plasticked off the small living room. Say small living room. Small living room. It was tiny. From the kitchen, which was basically the rest of the apartment. And I filled it with balloons. Not many balloons, about 60. Bitch to blow up. But it made like 1.5 feet of balloons in my living room with a plastic sheet. And then there's the kitchen. And I'm like, come to my non-orgy non-orgy party, my conservative friends. And they came. And we also had pot cookies. And a scavenger hunt. Now, let it be known, in a 250-foot, maybe 350 square foot, if you counted the ceilings, apartment in New York City, you could have a scavenger hunt. But not when you're all high on pot cookies. So there were like 14 of my best friends, conservative friends, and some not so conservative, and they're high on pot cookies trying to solve the riddles that my partner and I at the time wrote while we were sober. For those of you who do drugs, you know how this ends. Now, my most conservative of my friends, let's call them Roy and Brittany. Say Roy and Brittany. Roy and Brittany. They were my most conservative friends, and they ate the most pot cookies. And even Reid ate pot cookies, and Reid doesn't eat pot cookies very much. Kind of like a time, kind of diddle back to the person who bakes the pot cookies. Reid, do not eat an entire pot cookie. That would be bad. Everyone ate a pot cookie. Roy ate 2. In the middle of the scavenger hunt, Roy's going, for the love of God, why are we trying to find things? We're all so high! And I am like, we must solve the mysteries of the scavenger hunt, or we will not be complete. Upon which, one of my really cute little friends, who's sitting on the edge of my bed, which is the only thing that is higher than the balloons in the living room, filled with people who've eaten pot cookies. Arms come up out of the balloons, drag her in, spit out her jeans, and sex sounds begin. And I'm standing, like, calf knee deep in balloons, being like, no, this wasn't supposed to be an orgy. As everyone looks at each other and leaves the bed and crawls into the balloons. And I'm standing there as the balloons are like some sort of watery ocean. Things are happening, legs are popping up, arms, moans, and I'm like, in my head I'm going, this wasn't supposed to be an orgy. Some of my most conservative friends are here. Why am I being pulled down into the balloons? Under the balloons was red and white and clear. And everything made sense down here. The Christmas lights. It seemed so far above. It was so warm and soothing. I think that was a nipple that just went by. Someone's sucking on my cock. Maybe it's okay. But my non-orgy party is... Wait a minute. This isn't supposed to be this way. I find the bed. I crawl back up. I'm like, what's going on? My friend, who got pulled down first, is now like, you need to fuck me. I'm like, okay. So I'm fucking her. Other moans and groans are coming from, you know, the party, from the vast ocean. And it felt like an ocean because those pot cookies were fucking strong. And I'm like, in my head it's like, I'm fucking her. And I'm like, this is good. And she's like, this is great. And I'm like, yes, it's great, isn't it? And then hands came up out of the balloons again and grabbed her shoulders. And I'm like, no! And they pulled her right off my cock and into the ocean. And I'm like, this isn't how it's supposed to be. And now somebody's rimming me while somebody's blowing me. And I think this is okay. I don't have much to worry about anymore. And at some point, in the ocean, way far away, Roy breaches like a whale. And these are my most conservative friends. Say what? Most conservative friends. He breaches like a whale. Takes off his shirt. His wife's hands come up from under the sea of balloons, unbutton his pants, and as she pulls them off, and his sizable penis flops out, he looks at me and goes, I'm like, now this is, I'm getting rimmed and blown at the same time. I'm like, maybe they're okay. Maybe this is okay. Eventually people leave. I wake up the next day. I'm actually very disturbed. This is really, for those of you who know me, you're like, oh yeah. I have had a breach of integrity. I said this would not be an orgy. It was definitely not an orgy. Oh, there's a lot not of orgying going on. I called Roy and his wife, and I said, I have to come over and I have to talk to you too. I was really upset. Took the subway down to their place. I remember walking down the hallway to their place. I knocked on the door. I was all worked up. They opened the door. I'm like, I am so sorry that my not orgy party turned into an orgy. And they were like, dude, that was the best night of our married life ever.
This is a mistake that you make when you're a pervert. First time I threw a sex party, I thought, I want to make my vanilla friends really comfortable. They're not going to be comfortable with sex parties, so I had the brilliant idea to throw a birthday party that was a regular party until midnight and a sex party after midnight. I thought everybody would get that. And at some point I run into some people in the kitchen, this guy Jonathan that I had dated once upon a time, and his very vanilla roommate Elisa. And they walk in and I'm like, what are y'all doing here? It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. And they're like, well, it's your birthday, happy birthday. I'm like, this is a sex party. Y'all don't go to sex parties. They went, no, it's not. I'm like, I think it is. And they went, oh, fuck. And they looked at each other in terror, like, what the hell are we gonna do? They hadn't noticed that people were swinging from the chandelier. And, like, really, there were like hundreds of people. Fucking, they just walked in through the front door and hadn't noticed yet. And I'm like, are you guys gonna be okay? And Jonathan looks at her out of concern, like she's the problem. She's the one we need to make sure is okay. And she just kind of looks around in terror, and then she goes, well, since I'm here. I'm like, all right, let's get to work. What does she need? She says, well, it's been a little while. And I'm like, so what flavor? Like, male, female, whatever. You tell me, I'll make it happen. And she goes, penetration. I'm thinking the flavor is penetration. And right then, a guy I knew was walking down the staircase. I'm like, James, come here. And I walked him over and I'm like, Alyssa has decided she's okay with the fact that we're having a sex party and she's looking for penetration. And he perks up and goes, well, hello. I'm like, I'm gonna give him a recommendation right now. He's gonna work out for you. She goes, so this is like, should I do this? I'm like, go to town, girl. And they disappear upstairs, and about 5 hours later, she comes downstairs, and I see her coming down the staircase, and her hair's like this. I'm like, how you doing? She goes, that was an excellent recommendation. Give it up again for Reid Mihalko. Close out the night with one more song. Make a lot of noise, y'all, for Rachel Lark.